Hello, guys. Welcome to the 12th episode of Polarising Dialogue. This is the second part of our video, in which we discussed veganism versus other non-vegan diets. And in this video, we are going to be majorly focusing on the moral perspective, the morality side of whether it is right or not, having non-vegetarian food or meat or what perspectives we have on that. So I would like Madhesh to begin on this because I would have a lot of things to say, and I'll add after you do.
Yeah, of course. So I think when it comes to the moral side of veganism and just diets in general, one of the common questions that arise is whether it's okay for us to kill animals for us to eat, just for our palates, just for the sake of our palates. Is it okay for us to kill animals? To which I'd like to respond with, respond with asking if all lives are morally considered equal in our eyes. That sounds like a very extreme statement, but I'll obviously explain. You know how we have dogs, you know how we have cats, you know how we have fish. Is losing a fish in your fish tank equally as hard or equally as bad as losing your dog or a cat? I would like to go a step further by asking a question wherein is losing your cat or losing your dog as bad as losing your brother or your mother or a family member? Now, those questions are those questions do not require an answer. That the answers are very obvious. The point I'm making is that we as human beings, whether we like it or not, we value the lives of different creatures differently. Like we value human lives more than all the other lives or all the other creatures there is. The argument that I am making is that the question about whether it is okay for us to kill an animal for the sake of our palates, I would go as far as saying, well, I would say that morally, I feel like in order to get the best diet and in order to optimize performance, morally, I would draw a line wherein for the development of humanity as a whole, I would go as far as saying that I believe this diet helps me contribute the best to society. Because this diet, it translates to everything in my life. And even now, I've just consumed like a meat centered diet just after gym, and I feel very sharp. And I do not even know. I mean, whenever I talk about this diet itself, I get very happy because of the changes, the positive changes that has happened in my life. And when it comes to the moral discussion, I believe there are points to be made on both sides. But I think it is important to notice, or it is important to bring up the fact that even morally we do not consider the lives of all creatures equally. And I said this to one of my juniors. I was testing him. I was testing his debate capabilities. To which he said, I said this to him, and to which he said, if we could reach a point wherein we could kill no plants or take no lives in the process, that would be amazing. Great point, right? But in the pursuit of us taking no lives, we are sacrificing a lot of nutrients in the process. Like I think I've already made it very, very clear that top athletes, they have to settle for they have to take supplements in order to compensate for the nutrients which are missing in vegan diets. But for the common person, I believe those supplements are just not affordable. So I believe. See, for the common person, I'm not even saying full meat is affordable. Like a complete meat-based diet is affordable, but the only thing that I'm saying is a complete vegan-based diet is also not affordable as well. And I would even go as far as saying the vegan diet with all the supplements, a vegan balanced diet with all the supplements is a little more costlier and time consuming than the meat based diet, which just naturally consumes all the nutrients. What do you have to say for that?
Okay, so the point, I did not see that coming, honestly, but I don't know why actually. I was just wondering what your opinion would be because I couldn't have guessed. So yeah, so the thing about the benefits that you're mentioning about consuming meat or consuming non-vegetarian food and contributing to the world in a way that we're becoming better physically, that could be a plus. Definitely, that could be a plus. But I feel like that's just a very small contributor because, like we do have examples of vegan people following vegan and vegetarian diets who are athletes who are doing well. But in general, even common people, they don't have to consume a complete protein meal to just go by go just doing their normal work because they just don't require all of these nutrients, heavy nutrients in general on a daily basis because they don't work out to that extent, right? But if I look at the morality side, I feel like you said, there is always hierarchy as to which organism we give more importance to. And I feel like even when it comes to animals and plants and all of these creatures apart from humans, there is a hierarchy that we follow, at least vegetarians. So plants, and I mean animals and then plants, so we try saving animals because first of all, this is obvious that we need to consume something to survive, right? And if we're going against animals, there has to be something that we need to consume. So we cannot completely eliminate plants as well. But we choose plants in place of animals because it all depends on the intensity and gravity of the amount of pain and suffering that plants and animals go through. So plants, when it comes to animals, obviously suffer a lot less pain, although living creatures, both of these are living creatures, but plants, they don't have a nervous system, they don't have a brain, and their cells, their entire uh, system is very different from that of animals. So the amount of pain that they suffer is probably negligible, if I may say so. So that is why we choose plants over animals. And I would like to mention one particular thing. If we're talking about morality, I feel like it is also closely connected to religions. And I am a Jain. So in Jainism, one of the fundamental principles, the ethics. So we have something called ahimsa, which I think most of the people might have heard, which basically means non-violence. And non-violence, not just in terms of hurting other people. I mean, not hurting other people in terms of animals and even microorganisms. So we are encouraged to not consume root vegetables because they are known to have a lot of microscopic organisms that we do not intend to hurt, right? So we don't usually consume root vegetables.
You don't
And
consume onion and stuff like
yes,
that, right?
onions, garlic, all of that comes under that, ginger, all of that. So that's what it means. And violence in Jainism, it means, if you primarily, I mean, if you look at the actual meaning in Jainism, it means not hurting oneself. So if I engage in activities where uh, I am being hurtful against myself, so I'll display a kind of behavior that would hurt others. So what we're basically, and also the motto that we have in Jainism is live and let live. So you live peacefully and let everybody, in the sense, every single person, animal, and everybody who we can possibly save and protect. We are bound to do so as individuals. So that's what I have been brought up with, the values that I've brought up with. And I feel like it's very difficult for someone to make me have another opinion on this because I strictly stand by this. So, do you have
Of
anything to
course.
say about it
I
in
have
terms
a
of religion as
question.
well? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question. So you said about how plants, since they don't have nervous systems, they don't feel any pain, right?
Less pain.
If yeah, less pain. So there are very humane ways of killing animals, wherein lobsters or crabs rather. That I don't know if people watch Gordon Ramsay, but Gordon Ramsay is a big promoter of killing people, killing
Mm-hmm.
people, killing animals,
No.
killing animals humanely. Wherein he takes the crab. Crab basically doesn't even know what is happening. He stabs. He puts a knife directly through the brain or through the nervous system of the crab. The crab doesn't feel any pain. So if pain is the primary motive or the primary I guess premise from which you decide which is moral or not,
Mm.
how is the crab getting killed in a humane way any different than a plant getting killed? Or
That's an amazing question. And the thing, okay, so I am like super biased here because
I understand. It's
it
fine.
wouldn't
It's
make
fine. It's okay to be biased. It's
it
okay. It's
wouldn't
okay.
make
Yeah.
a lot of sense, but I really cannot imagine consuming any kind of animal crabs or whatever that is because I don't like the idea of it. And about the kill, yes, so animals. Definitely. So there is, there was one thing that came up in Singapore. I think it
Mm.
was what vegetarian meat. They were,
Right. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So they would take cells out from hens or something, and then they would, I don't know what the process is like, but then they would create it into veg meat or something.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
aware of it. Yeah.
That I was debating about this with one of my friends, and I came to a conclusion that I might consume something like it because there is no involvement of killing of any kind, right? So
True.
yeah, but it's still absurd, dude. I don't know if I can really touch upon
However,
that, but
I would caution you on that because the meat or the vegetarian meat which is getting produced,
mm,
the way I look at it is something similar to Coke Zero, which is Coca-Cola with zero sugar.
mm,
It's zero sugar, which is I think it is actually more harmful than the sugar alternative of the Coca-Cola because the amount of chemicals that goes into zero sugar, the amount of chemicals that goes into the zero sugar Coke to be made tasty is scary. So much to the point where I would even consume. I would feel fine if my loved one who is pretty sick or who is very immune to stuff
mm,
consuming a Coke filled with sugar. I would be more comfortable with them consuming that as opposed to the Coke Zero version. So I would caution you on that. If you are going to try anything related to meat, do contact me. I will guide you through this process. But yeah, I would just like to raise a caution, and I believe as those people are going to such an extent to do that, I believe there can be quite a lot of chemicals used because
mm, mm.
I don't understand. I do not see a world wherein the flavor can get matched in a very
It
natural
cannot. It
way.
cannot.
Yeah, I feel like that one of the reasons for that is because I think we are genetically, or rather, our ancestors, since they didn't have access to plants and all, they go out hunting and they
Mm.
just eat whatever they could get their hands on. So they were primarily non-vegetarians to start with. So I think that plays a role as to why we find meat that much more appetizing because I don't know, that is part of our entire evolution, human evolution. That's a unique or interesting way of looking at it.
Maybe
But
I don't
I
have too
would
much to
say,
say here.
right, I
I don't know
understand.
if it's
But I would
appetizing.
say, of course, but I would say that the closest thing or the closest food source that comes very close to a non-vegetarian meal, the taste of non-vegetarian food is chop. Delhi tandoori
Really?
chop. I've told you about it,
Oh
but
my
even
god.
that, yeah, even that, I feel like there is a very clear distinction between the taste of that and real actual chicken.
Of
And
course.
yeah, as I mentioned in the last video, well, I found out that soya increases. Soya is estrogenic in nature, which means we cannot have it as frequently. as women do. But I am such a person wherein I'm currently focused on optimizing my health. I got called a health freak for you. So optimizing my health, in particular my testosterone, because it aids in my mood, in regulating my mood and my muscle growth and just my posture in general. So since I'm in this pursuit, I am like wholeheartedly trying to avoid both soya and flax seeds. See, all the other food sources, it is proven to, for some food sources to tilt towards the estrogenic side, some food sources to tilt towards the testosterone generating side. But flax seeds and soya in specific, these two food sources have like, I think this was mentioned in a Hamza video. He said that these two food sources alone, they have 100 times the estrogenic effect that the other food sources have, which is why he like holistically avoids these two food sources alone. And I was talking to my brother about this, and he said that the estrogenic effects in soya is so minimal that it doesn't make sense for one to avoid it. And my response to that was, well, if you know that you want to go somewhere, and if you have two ways of getting there, or rather two ways of getting there. One, you know for sure, both the ways are productive. You know you'll get there. Both the things will give you all the traits required to get there. One is trying to give you an unnecessary amount of headwinds, while the other has tailwinds. So not only does the other thing help you get there, the same way the other thing helps you get there. So I'm just comparing meat and soya at this point. Not just meat, not just gives you the protein, the quality protein that soya gives, if not a better source of protein, but it also gives you a headwind as opposed to the amount of testosterone it also helps generate. So my question is, if you look at this from an opportunity cost point of view, instead of consuming soya, you can eat meat. At the same time, instead of consuming soya, you can eat meat. And you get the same benefits of soya, if not more, and the testosterone benefits and the testosterone boost. So my question is, why would you willingly opt towards the headwind? Is what I asked him. He's not a philosophical person, so he just kept on driving. He just kept on driving, but it was an interesting conversation.
Right.
I would actually go as far as saying, if you are a non-vegetarian and if you like soya, I would suggest you consume soya like some kind of junk food. You treat it like a junk food, wherein it's a treat that you can consume. It's a treat that you can give into from time to time. But if you're someone
I would
like me,
definitely read about
go ahead.
the testosterone part, because I haven't read about it. So
There
I'm
is this book. The Estrogenic Something. There is this book. It's an awesome book. The
okay.
book talks about all the practices and the food sources from which testosterone is generated and the estrogen is generated, blah, 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 blah. That is an amazing read. You should absolutely, if you do not find the time to read the entirety of it, just look at summaries of the entire book. There was one nut in specific for the guys who are watching. This nut is called the Brazilian nut. Brazilian nut. People, a person was absorbed. Okay, so that person took 3 Brazil nuts in the morning after waking up, 3 Brazil nuts at night, and that guy, when he followed this for an entire month, his testosterone got tripled. Now, mind you, you have to understand what tripling is. If my testosterone is 400, it became 1,200 after an entire month. Very interesting. Very interesting. So if you guys just want a quick hack to increase your testosterone, also almonds also work to increase testosterone. Almonds and Brazilian nuts. But yeah, with regards to dietary, I'm just very excited when I'm just thinking about the next month and the amount of progress that I'm looking to make. I'm looking to go towards the keto side of diets, not just completely carnivore, because I'm still a little skeptical about the entirety of it, because people who follow carnivore apparently only take one meal a day. I need an entire presentation. I need an entire presentation to convince my
To
mom and dad.
convince you.
Yes, I need to I need to get all my family members here. I'm like, I need to wear a suit and all. Like, welcome guys. I am Madhesh. I need all of that to convince them on that. But even without convincing them, I myself am like a little skeptical on that. So a lot of research has to be done on the carnivore diet itself
Definitely.
before I. But the entire concept is just amazing. You know, it's just very primal. It kind of mimics the way our ancestors lived, and I believe anything and everything that allows me to mimic what my ancestors did, I feel it gives me a sense of joy, you know. Just the thought of making fire, the thought of camping out in the woods, just making your own place, and just, you know, just raining and just living out in nature. I like those kinds of things, which is naturally why I don't use my phone that much for entertainment, because I like to find my
That's good.
fun in just natural environments, you know. So huge rant there.
Definitely.
What do
Right.
you
I
think
will
about
read
that?
upon that and we can have a conversation about that later.
Of
And there's
course,
this,
of course.
okay, so this is related to the topic only, but it's kind of controversial. But
Hmm.
okay, so soya is easily anything related to soya chop, soya roll, any kind of soya. That has to be easily one of my favorite meals to consume ever. Okay. And this is controversial because then, I like the rubbery texture, and my friends look at me and like, I have told this to a lot of my friends, and they'll be, you'd had you been a non-vegetarian, you'd be a hardcore chicken lover. I'm like, okay,
Exactly.
okay, don't say that. But yeah, I really like the taste of it, but then I might never
Actually,
try it.
being a
Still an
hardcore
animalist.
non-vegetarian, if you like the rubbery texture, you'd probably like beef more. Chicken is not so rubbery.
So yeah, that just weirds me out. But then yeah, it is
See,
true.
if it makes you feel any better, Zaki, it's very soya for you. It's very, very good. So I think mental health for women, it's regulated by the female hormone, estrogen. So it's very,
Of
very good.
course.
I think you can even like include flax seeds into your diet somewhere there as well.
Sometimes we add
And yeah, and
seeds.
actually tell me about how it goes, because I'm curious, because I just read about this, and I
Mm.
know that it has a detrimental. I think it has a detrimental effect on my testosterone, because I've seen it, or I've read about it in like so many places, but I don't know about how women feel, because women, I mean, if it is said to have the effects that it is said to have,
Mm.
women should feel better when consuming that in like higher proportions.
I don't know what to
So
compare it with because I mean it's not I cannot
just
specifically
whatever
tell you
your
that.
the diet that you have, just try to increase the amount of soya and flax seeds by a little bit, with all the other things remaining constant. Try to increase the amount of flax seeds and soya that you consume a little bit. This is why I get very passionate when talking about meat, because for now I kind of follow the same diet that I've been following. Just that every single day I've told my mother to have some kind of meat ready. So chicken, mutton, something. And I see how I'm feeling. My God, I'm at the top of my world. So yeah, try that. And you were going to say something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I cause soya chunks only. I don't prepare anything out of it, but I consume that on a regular. But I will notice from now on if I feel a significant difference in that, and I will let you know. But yeah, that was that. And what else? Do you want to say anything? I feel like.
Absolutely. So I would like to just add one more thing. So people who are losing weight, for people who are losing weight, this is not a veganism versus meat eating discussion. This is a discussion about just specific dietary lifestyles that you can follow. I think this is not just for people who are losing weight. This is something that can be helpful for like everyone and anyone listening to this video. So you guys should absolutely try. So we are told that fat is bad and we should use carbohydrates for energy, right? But apparently carbohydrates has a tendency to make to like produce brain fog.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is, see, I think I've mentioned that in the last video. Oats, amazing source of carbs, just the best source of carbs probably for people who go to the gym. Incredible brain fog, heavy brain fog, right? So people who are working professionals and people who just want some diet wherein you feel your best cognitively, try getting your energy from healthy fats. So ghee, a teaspoon of ghee is very, very good for you every single day. A teaspoon of ghee. So try getting your energy from just these healthy fat sources rather than carbohydrates. I would even go as far as saying switch keto. Switch to keto, try it for a while. Because keto is so notoriously known for it being a heavy fat, heavy protein diet with little to no carbs there. Very interesting. I believe people should absolutely try it. Have you tried keto?
I've never tried keto. I haven't made a lot of changes to my diet. What happens is actually when I'm home. So when I'm not in Bombay, also I get good food. But when I'm home, so we have a pretty fixed schedule in terms of diet and all of that. My mom is very health conscious. What she does in the morning is she makes a specific kind of either a mixed dry fruit milkshake or a particular juice out of a vegetable. She made, what did she make today? She made pumpkin juice today. So pumpkin juice for everybody,
Okay.
and we're used to it and we like it. So and then along with it, some kind of salad that has some kind of protein. There's chana or there's paneer or there's soya chunks. Any of that, and these two, and then sometimes there is hot breakfast also, something like poha and all of those North Indian breakfast.
Mhm.
So we have that, and for lunch, it's majorly just roti and sabzi, and then we have a dahi based something, a chaach,
Mhm.
just dahi. At night there's no fixed this thing. So in between we have these dry fruits and chana
Mhm. Of course, of
yeah,
course.
the normal, the usual kind of chana or mufli, sorry, peanuts. So all of
Okay,
that,
okay,
we
okay.
we have all of this throughout the day. I didn't have to make a lot of changes to my diet. I just added a few things, and then I feel like I was good to go. My energy levels were at a decent level, and I consume milk on a regular when I'm in Bombay. I don't like milk
Mhm.
at all, but then I have to have it in the morning.
I think comparing North Indian diets to South Indian diets, North Indian diets are naturally a little more protein based than South Indian diets. Because South
I
Indian
agree.
dishes, yeah, you look at South Indian dishes, bloody delicious. First of all. Second of all, see, first of all, I don't want to offend the South Indians watching this. Oh my God, are you complaining? Brother, I love South Indian dishes, please. I'm just talking about the health part of it. Calm down. So you look at South Indian dishes, it's idli, dosa, pongal, sambar, chutney. All of these things are packed with carbohydrates, packed
Exactly.
absolutely mashed together with carbohydrates. You'd probably find a lot of energy just eating this and carrying on with your day. The only problem is it doesn't aid for muscle recovery. So what aids
Exactly.
muscle recovery is protein. So I believe
Mm.
it's there comes a need for a very balanced diet. And see, when I was talking about all this, when I told my mom the first time that in South Indian diets are naturally very low in protein, she smiled at me. You know how mothers smile when they know
Sarcastic.
yeah, when they know their sons or daughters found something on the internet and they're just telling
Ah, I know.
you some kind of BS, some kind of BS. That is probably misinformation, but you know what? It's fun to hear. That was the reaction
They
she
just
gave.
roll their eyes or something.
Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
God, here we go again. So, some random Instagram post she saw and now she's coming down. That look she gave me. Now even they are like actively looking to inculcate like a
Yes,
protein with
correct.
her diet as
Mm.
well. So she makes eggs for me in the morning. So I take 5 eggs in the morning,
Mm.
5 egg whites, two yolks. She started taking one whole egg in the morning, and my dad also started taking it. Very interesting. The entire diet of my family, or my family itself, it started changing because of the diet of me and my brother. And I swear to God, when my sister-in-law arrived to my house, she was like, "What is this family? What are you guys eating? This is such so unconventional." Like they
What
worry.
convinced her is my question. What convinced your mom?
Convinced her. This is a philosophical answer, but I'll give you the actual answer as well. You know how there's the truth, which is a little hard to accept for people.
Hmm.
But you know how this truth, give it long enough, and this truth will always find a way to like make itself known to people. The fall,
So you could just
the
prove
false.
your point somewhere or the other all this while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My mother, how she got convinced was, see, she has bone pain. Knee pain, actually, knee pain because of age, and because of her knee pain, it's actually not curable, or what she was told. So she she was looking up all these remedies on YouTube about how you can reduce knee pain and all, and most, wow, surprise, 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 guys! Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Muscle recovery, everything to rebuild your entire body, protein is needed. And it's so interesting because even Mama, my uncle coming from Kerala, he has no idea, by the way, of all this
Mm.
happening. He comes here, he's peacefully eating dosa. My mother is like, nalla adichu gate, protein evada idhula protein. Where is the protein? What are you? No
That's
wonder you're so weak.
that would
And
be so
literally,
interesting for you to see.
exactly, so interesting. And every single day, whenever they were eating, the conversation was just about protein. They were calculating the grams of protein which was there. And oh my God, I was like, this is a dream come true. What have I created? Yes. Is this how parents feel when their like children become successful or something? I felt so good because they were talking about grams of protein, for God's sake. The same family who is like opposing the entire, oh my God, the same family who thought that 5 eggs a day was like too much. And I would also like to mention about how not just South Indian, but also I think North Indian diets and just Indian diets as a whole, by default, I think the protein load of ours is just very, very
Yes,
low.
correct. Mm.
How I found this out was actually getting involved in the gym and getting to know about what and all is required to build muscle.
Mhm.
Brother, you would be, your mental state will get stretched in a lot of areas. Your What you perceive the world is before and after gym is like two different places. You
Mm.
would think that 10 eggs, 200 grams of chicken, all those things are like low protein. It's like heavy protein. That's the
Okay.
bare minimum you need to build protein, or to build muscle, rather. The
Muscle.
bare minimum. The bare
What do
minimum.
you
So
feel?
the grams that we need in a day, the protein that we as people who go to the gym to build muscle need in a day, is my body weight into two.
Hmm.
70, my body weight is 70. We need 140 grams or 150. I need 150 grams of protein. Brother, fucking egg has 6 grams.
But
Where do I go for
two
protein?
times, seriously, two times your weight.
2 times my weight, yes. And that's the bare minimum. That people even go as far as saying that's the bare minimum. I don't even
Really?
have 2 times. Yeah, I don't have 2 times. I only have like 1.5. I barely match 1.5.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is
yeah.
with the whey protein drink, which has like 25 grams of protein in like one sip.
We
So
do.
for people,
Yeah, we have
yeah,
that
go
for
ahead.
breakfast. We have that for breakfast. Literally, okay. So we take paneer out and the water that comes. We just drink it like that. We don't do
Brother,
anything to the
you are
water.
very lucky to have the mother that you have. Okay. Brother, you better be praying to God for like thanking God for like getting the mother that you have. Yeah,
So
the way, yes. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, please.
So I actually believed what I've already read on the internet or wherever. I thought it was exactly the amount of what protein you require. That would be what at par with your body weight, or at
One
least
gram
like
per body weight.
1.25 or something, but not more than that. I've never read about two times though. Oh my god, I would never be able to meet that. Being a vegetarian, impossible.
Exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my
Now
god.
you understand. Now you understand where I'm
I
coming from a little
mean,
bit with regards to with regards to the meat-based diet and all that. It's
Dude.
very hard. The vegetarian, see, the harsh truth about vegetarian bodybuilding, I'll go to the extremes to make a point. The harsh truth is, see, if I take 3 meals a day to fulfill my protein requirements, vegetarians have to like divide that into like 5 or 6, because my quantity, my
Correct.
this amount of quantity which gives this much amount of protein, to get this much amount of protein, you have to take a lot of the same quantity. You have to pump the quantity up because the grams is just fixed. The grams is not as high enough as opposed to the protein, as opposed to the non-vegetarian alternatives. And the sad part is, vegetarian fueled muscle, I don't know if this is scientifically based, but I've observed this in like vegetarian bodybuilders who come to my gym.
Mhm.
Bodybuilders who've taken vegetarian diets, their muscles look way different compared to the muscles built through non-vegetarian means. And what I mean by different is, non-vegetarian means it looks way more defined, wherein there is like cuts, these kinds of cuts, small plug of my body.
Sure, sure, sure.
Like small cuts in your body, like definition. The muscles which were like built through vegetarian means, the definition was not as there, which is very sad, because the vegetarian people probably worked for it twice as hard with regards to the diet. They probably ate twice as hard compared to their non-vegetarian alternate non-vegetarian counterparts. But still, the muscle quality is just not at par.
But then I wonder, do you know who John Abraham is? He's
Yes,
a, yeah. So he looks ripped. I think
I think
I don't know
John
if he was
Abraham.
vegetarian right from the beginning or he just changed his diet very recently. I'm not sure, but he's been vegetarian for a long time now. And then Virat Kohli is also vegetarian now for a very.
Okay.
It's been a lot of years, and they are absolutely amazing as athletes, and
Hmm.
I mean as yeah people.
As people, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
As people,
respond to that in
obviously,
two
but
parts.
physically, they are super fit. That's what you're.
I would respond to that in 2 parts. I think John Abraham is steroids, because most of these actors, I wouldn't trust their bodies because it's pretty obvious they're on
But
stuff.
Virat Kohli,
Because
dude.
yeah, Virat Kohli, I'll come to that. So you know how Virat Kohli, Novak Djokovic, all these are like examples of people who have made it using the vegan diet. I'm not
Mm,
refuting the fact that vegan diet just does not work. I'm like, vegan diet works with all the other supplements there to like meet the nutrients which are missing from the vegan diet, for one.
correct.
And two, he's Virat Kohli. He's Virat Kohli. He has all the money in the world to spend on diets. Now compare that to the normal bodybuilder who gets paid like scrap. Or leave the bodybuilding part. Leave the bodybuilding. A normal person who wants to build a person like me. Can I afford all the supplements that Novak Djokovic, Virat Kohli, all these people take?
Yes, so I was wondering how big of a difference that would make. Yeah, obviously he has access to, he can afford products that we cannot, being vegan, and he can follow that. But when I just looked up his diet, and in a recent interview had revealed what he consumes in a day, and it was mostly a lot of vegetables, boiled and steamed food, basically a lot of vegetables. Yeah, he does consume smoothies and sprouts, and
Mhm.
there's just absolutely no dairy at all. And there was nothing specific that I found to be like overly expensive, that would a kind of meal that would cost you more than meat or any other kind of, I mean, a normal person can possibly afford that kind of food. So yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering.
Yeah. So how I'd like to respond to that is, when someone asks me, and I'm going to the gym, right?
Mm.
When someone asks me what I eat in the day, do I tell them I consume fish oil? Do I include the fish oil part? Do I include the whey protein part right of the top of the conversation? Or do I tell them what I actually eat, like actual food that everyone considers normal, like eggs, like chicken? This is what I eat. So when people ask me, I do not, if they ask me in specific about the supplements that I take, or if at all I take whey protein, then at that point it would make way more sense for me to like admit all the things that I'm taking. So to like add to this point, I'd like to mention the example of Ronaldo and a lot of other athletes who show their diets, and none of these diets tell you the supplements that they're taking. The diet shows quinoa, they're taking chicken breast, blah 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 blah. This is like 60-70% of what they're consuming. All the 30%, all the supplements, they did not show you. And rightfully so. Why would you? That is so uncool. That I mean, imagine people thinking of Ronaldo as some person. Imagine thinking of Ronaldo as some person who's only as successful because he has that much more access and that much more access to things that normal people doesn't have access to, and because he takes all the different things that normal people don't take. It's that much more understandable for Ronaldo, and is that much more he's seen as that much more of a role model if he's seen as a person who's consuming the same things that we are consuming. It's mostly the same things as well. I'm not going so far as to say that he consumes like completely a different he consumes completely different things compared to normal humans, but the amount of supplements that people take, they're not outright, they do not admit, they do not tell you about the supplements that they consume, because supplements in and of itself is like a different segment. When someone asks you what do you eat or your diet, supplements do not get included in the diet. But when we talk about veganism as a whole, we have to consider every single thing, the entire aspect of it, because nutrients are also like incredibly important when like people decide on the diets that to stick to and with regards to progress. And I would also like to state that Virat Kohli and Novak Djokovic and all these people, they also have a lot of time to consume all these vegan based diets in order to like match the kind of nutrients that one would normally get consuming a lot less quantity of non-vegetarian alternatives. While me as a person, I do not, I personally, even now, I'm working on a clock, so I do not have, the time that I eat is like 20 minutes, not more than that. So I take 5 eggs. I take some sweet potatoes, like 100 or 150 grams of sweet potato right now, and a protein shake. All of that has to be done in like 20 minutes. Because I'm working on a timer, I'm working on a schedule. I have other things to do. Just physical health alone is not it's not what I'm focused on. But Virat Kohli, he has all the time in the world to sharpen his body, because that is what his career is. That is what his career is. So the more he sharpens his body, the more he can provide for his family, the more progress he makes in his career. But the more I sharpen my body, it has a limitation to it, because this is not my profession. Right? So when it's not my profession, I should also consider the most efficient forms of protein as well as the effective.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. But there's one more thing. Virat Kohli was a non-vegetarian previously, and he faced an issue with there was some nervous problem that he had, and he switched to following which he switched to a vegetarian diet, and he's just felt better in general about his health and about his body. So that also, I mean, I'm not
It's
sure.
an interesting take. It's an interesting space. Obviously, there are so many diets that work. So keto diet, carnivore diet is what I am promoting. Vegan diet. I've also like seen people who I've also seen people post about how they've like felt incredible on the vegan diet. I'm not denying that at all. Like especially Sadhguru, he's one of the people that I'm so used to following. Sadhguru in his entire temple, he promotes he like promotes he promotes vegetarian forms of food. So I'm not denying the existence of this. I'm not denying the benefits of it. But me personally, I'm way more inclined towards looking towards the non-vegetarian side of things. And it's not even because of taste alone, although that is a part of it. It's also because it's based on it's also because it gives me the testosterone boost, and me being a health freak and all, I want to consume every single thing that just maximizes my performance in all areas of life, not just physically, even when it comes to my productivity. And I want my brain to be as sharp as possible. And based on the research that I've done, I think non-vegetarian, or rather a carnivore diet, to be very specific, is the way to go. But in turn, if you want to calm yourself, I believe a vegan diet is like more recommended, because I've heard a lot of people say that when I them hopping on a vegan diet, they feel way more calmer than they normally used to than they normally feel. So if it depends on people's objectives. So I want to maximize my performance. I want to make my brain be as sharp as possible. But maybe when I'm like 40, 50, or 60, when I'm retired, maybe when my goals have changed, maybe at that point in time, maybe what I value is like peace of mind and just being tranquil. Maybe then I would like switch to a vegan diet and just try it out. But as for my life goals right now, I just don't feel it happening. So I
I feel
believe.
like depends on a lot of factors. What you're doing, what your objective is, what sort of a person you are, and what background you come from. All of that also matters, because the physical work that you're doing every day, if you don't require that much, I mean, it depends. Yeah, it depends on what your purpose and what you want. And if your diet fulfills that, then you're good to go. And it becomes very subjective at that point.
At the end of the day,
So,
it's just fuel. It's just fuel.
yeah.
It's just fuel, and that fuel depends. It depends on what you need the fuel for. If you need the fuel
Mm,
for you to feel more calm, maybe the vegan diet is for you. This is on
exactly.
the extremes, by the way. We're talking on the extremes. So for people watching, you do not need to go on a pure vegan diet. You can like mix and match all these things and consume
Whatever works for you. In fact, you
whatever works
curate
for
one
you.
for yourself.
Exactly. That's the best thing.
Yes.
That's the best thing that people can do, actually. Because all these carnivore diets as well, when it comes to just carnivore diet, based on what you said, some people take eggs, some people exclude eggs. It's just finding what the specific part of
Works for
what works
you.
for you. Some people even include sweet potato in the entire carnivore diet, because yeah, sweet potato apparently is like one of the best forms of carbohydrates out there.
Mm.
So it's just, yeah, find what works for you. So I think the video's already gotten
Yes.
extended to quite a while. It was an
Yes.
amazing conversation, Saki, as it
Definitely.
always is. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any doubts or any queries regarding any of the diets that each of us follows, or if you have any questions in general, or if you have topic suggestions, specific topics that you
Definitely. We
want us
want
to
that.
make, exactly. Yeah, very, very badly. So you just put it down in the comments. And Saki, do you want to add something before we go?
That'll be it, I think. We've said a lot about this. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was an amazing video.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank
Peace.
you.